Just what I needed. Get my heart going, will you please?
Good morning, everybody. It's UFO Wednesday with Don and Gary. And
or Gary and Don.
Oh, there we go.
Or Gary and Don.
My daddy taught me to respect my elders. Look, nobody gives a shit about me. They're here for you.
Benny does.
I consider myself the Ed McMahon of your Johnny Carson show.
Well, ain't that sweet?
Yes, it is.
We're gonna have a hell of a good show today.
I think it's possible. We got this. Well, first of all, we've got my buddy John here. Das Wolfen is here, and of course, Martina Costa Santana is here to handle and manage the chat. And then, of course, we got the amazing Chanel backstage producing the show. And on top of all of that, and this is the best part, we have our special guest, Mark Center is here. And so there it is. UFO Wednesday with Don Ecker and special guest Mark Center. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Center. Oh,
now, back in the day, several years ago, when I still had my show, Dark Matters Radio.
This was the 1990s, for those of you that are curious. 1990s.
No, it wasn't. No,
was it the
Gary,
2000s?
You're so full of shit.
I know I am, but that's okay.
No. This was like 2017, 2018.
Oh, then that's not even back in the day. Jesus, man. You overshot that one.
Kinda. But anyway, I had my show, Dark Matters Radio, on KGRA, and usually joining me each week was Mr. Richard Saraday and Mr. Mark Center. Now, Mark Center was our data master. Somebody would say something obscure, and within a minute, Mark would have it all over the place. I mean, he could dig out data quicker than a fly.
And a 5-year-old with a booger.
Exactly, yes. So with that being said, Mr. Center, how are you?
This is the first time I've been on any show for a long time, Don, because I don't really do this that often. But I do have a lot of stuff to share. So when you guys are ready to get after it, we'll get after it.
Outstanding. Well, I like warming up the show and getting the audience going here. And of course, one of the things that makes our show special is we interact with our audience, specifically our YouTube audience. Eventually, we will start taking calls through KGRA. But for right now, we have our live chat. And we would like to say good morning to some of our live chat that's here. The first person in the house was none other than Penny. That is Dork Knight's mother. Anima Confusa, love of my life. D. Bud Martin. Of course, the amazing Six is here. Dork Knight is here. That's Penny's son. Shadows Dragon. Monkey Jeebus. And we say Monkey Jeebus a very special way. Monkey Jeebus, thank you. Come again. Wajid Leakey is here. Fish Belly, who is new to the show still. And, of course, our good military buddy, Joe's Atmosphere, is here right now. So, good morning
John
to everybody. I don't see. Oh, John, it just popped up on my screen. John Osteen is here. Excellent. Good morning, a good way to start. And I hope everybody's having a good middle of the week day. John Osteen says, let's see, the Mark Center with Don talking about Korf. Yes. like Christmas and birthday rolled into one. It's going to be one of those shows because we're going to be talking about. The plan was to talk about the alien autopsy and getting into Korf and what a major phony he is, right, guys?
Or a kernel.
No.
Kernel of truth.
No, not so much a major phony, more of a fucking lunatic.
I find most phonies to be just a tad bit out of their fucking minds. It's been my experience. And speaking of that, we're going to be having another guest on here in I think it's a week or 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we're going to have Don Shipley on, and we're going to be talking about all those fake Navy SEALs that he outs on YouTube. Hilarious stuff, man. Nothing better than catching somebody that's a big fat phony.
Hey, Christian Delorme is present.
Hey, Christian is here. Yes, another fan that is a regular watcher on our show because of you, Don. So, and Christian is from Canada and has a son that's active duty military right now. So,
signal intelligence.
Yep. Very proud of his boy. He's very proud of his boy. I'm doing a portrait of him and his son. So, if you didn't know,
that's really neat.
Actual money is I do art.
Wow, that's really neat, Gary.
You know, I don't need your shit this morning.
No, I'm being sincere.
Okay, I thought you were fucking with me.
Hey, Gary, fuck you.
Fuck you. All right.
We have Breach.
We have Breach. Oh, shit. You want to play the video? You're in charge of that this show.
Okie dokie.
Major reason why. Another use of the word major is because my mouth just.
Open your back door, baby. Loosen your hinges, I'll show you my key.
Sweet revenge. Sweet revenge.
Christian says, annoyingly proud. That's funny. Good morning, everybody. And I want to welcome Mark to the show. I'm looking forward to, just sitting back a little bit. That's what I do is I sit back on the show and I just watch Don go to town on this UFO shit. And I learn. This is UFO college for Gary. Because I've read Bud Hopkins. I've read Chariots of the Gods since I was a kid. And, but I don't think I know shit. I really don't. When I start listening to Don talking, I'm like, who? I don't know who that is. Then you don't know shit, as Don would say.
And then, of course, lots of learning to do there, boy.
You're just another one of them dumb sons of bitches, he'll say. Uninitiated. But Mark, good morning. Glad you have your coffee. I saw your coffee. You want to share it with the audience? There's your cup right there. Is that anything special?
That's my Elvis cup with my dark roast.
There are those that believe that he was kidnapped by Bigfoots or aliens.
I could only hope that he would be on stage with Engelbert. They're about the same age, and he's still out there doing it. So that gives you an idea that Elvis could actually be out there singing still if Engelbert's out there. So
because he'd be what, about 80 now?
86-ish.
86-ish.
Hey,
yeah,
look. We all know Elvis. The true story of Elvis is detailed in detail on Don Coscarelli's Bubba Hotep.
Absolutely.
That's what happened to Elvis.
Absolutely.
And
One
that
of the best films ever.
Yep. And sadly, I don't think we'll ever get a proper sequel because Bruce doesn't seem to want to come back for it.
Well, they waited too long. You can't. You got to get the money up, and they put out that terrible Part 5 of the flying ball film, and they should have used that money for.
The Sphere, with
Phantasm.
Phantasm, yeah.
That was just terrible. I mean, I love the actors and all that, but come on, you could have used that for the sequel.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Phantasm films. Yeah, that's the one we've been waiting for is Bubba Hope versus Nosferatu and the awesome big-titted women.
Yes, it's not going to happen. The only big-titted woman you're going to see is Bruce Campbell himself. So,
Oh my God. Now, just so you know, I actually work with him occasionally. So.
oh no, he's great. He's the chin. He's
No,
the
don't worry. I don't mind making fun of him.
I don't think he does, as long as you're talking about him.
I've annoyed him. I've annoyed him at times. At dinner, one time we were eating, and I'll just tell you the one time when he turned to say, it was when he announced he was moving to Ashland, Oregon, and I'm there with Josh Becker, who is one of Don's favorite people ever. And I'm talking with Josh about something, and Bruce breaks in that he's moving to Ashland, Oregon. And so we all turned to him at the table and listening, and he says, I got to get out of Hollywood. I need to get up to Ashland, Oregon. And I shot back. I said, yeah, there's a lot more room up there for your ego to grow. He shot me a look, and Josh Becker started laughing because I just shit on Bruce Campbell. But Bruce is great in Bubba Hotep, and that's one of my favorite films too. Don Cascarelli. I did some artwork for him personally for one of the documentaries that was they were working on about him. Did they ever release that movie, John?
Which movie?
The one about Don Cascarelli.
Not that I know of.
I don't think it's been released yet.
Yeah.
But I look forward to it because they're going to talk very heavily about the making of Bubba Hotep.
Hanging
nice.
in my hallway is a movie poster from Bubba Hotep that Mark got me at one of those fan conventions, and Coscarelli signed it. He had Coscarelli sign it. And he kept telling me, Don, he said, I got something for you. I got something for you. Oh, cool. What? Oh, you'll just have to wait and see. So I waited 3 freaking years. He lost it. And finally, he found it. He found it in the garage. I guess it was the garage, right, Mark?
Yes, it took me about the same amount of time to find that as to read your book. No reflection on your book. I loved it, but that's the way I read. I go into the reading room, get done about 3 pages, clean up, and come back in later if you get my drift.
You read like me because as I've gotten older, I find it harder and harder to read.
Absolutely. I start to fall asleep.
Yeah, and with me, it's just simply my eyes have gone to shit. And so I like audiobooks. So what I do at Dawn is I have an audio reader for me. And I have it read. And with Dawn's book, I had to find somebody from the East Coast, and all I could find was a New Yorker. So I got a New Yorker reading me Don Ecker's books. So that's when that guy, asked, hey, how you doing?
And then the vampire went down on its knees, and you can guess the next part.
Yeah, you guessed the next part. By the way, here you go. This is the Bruce Campbell cover I did for Running Time, his movie.
Nice.
And
the chin needs to be about 6 times that big.
yeah, and that's one of his quotes is that one of the few artists to get my chin right. This is his quote on my page. Josh Becker has an even better one on my page. It says, Gary sucks less than any artist I've ever worked with. That's a good quote. Won't get me any work, but it's a good quote. But so let's get into this. We've gone almost 15 minutes. That's our warm up, our monologue, whatever you want to call it for the Tonight Show. Let's start talking about the alien autopsy, Don. Let's get into this because I'm ready to get educated here.
Oh, the alien autopsy. Okay. Well, in 1993, Vicki and I at UFO Magazine were invited to be speakers at the First World UFO Congress in Vienna. Wien. That's how they say it over there. Wien, not
Wien.
Vienna. Wien. So we go over there and, oh my God, we were blown away. The architecture, it was just mind blowing. And we're banging around there, and they had UFO speakers and researchers coming in from all across Europe. And I'm trying to think if there were any other Americans there. I don't think so, just Vicky and I. So some of the European speakers were two British couples, John Spencer and his wife, his then wife, Anne, and Philip Mantle and his wife, now ex-wife, and I can't think of what her name
I
was.
think her name was Susan.
Might have been Sue. Yes, very good, Mark. Thank you. And so anyway, there at the conference one day, I was down in the restaurant or coffee shop having some of that excellent Viennese coffee, and Mantle came down. Now, Mantle is a pretty well-known name, especially in Europe, when it comes to UFO stuff. And he sat down, and we were just very amicably chatting. And he said, "Hey, by the way, did you hear anything about Steven Spielberg doing a UFO movie, and he actually has footage from Roswell, from the Roswell crash?" And I hadn't. I said, "What? No, I haven't heard anything about that." I said, "But by the way, I do know a number of producers back in Hollywood. When I get back home, I'll make some inquiries to see if anybody heard anything about this." Now, in retrospect, in hindsight, I believe Mantle, who knew better, was simply trying to prime the pump. Now, what am I talking about, priming the pump? Well, the guy ultimately behind this whole alien autopsy business was a guy by the name of Raymond Santilli. And Santilli, a Brit, okay, and in my book, a total bullshit artist and fraudster, was laying the groundwork for what turned out to be one hell of a payday for him. So I get back home, and one of the people I call is none other than Bob Kiviat, who was just on this show a week ago. And Kiviat didn't know anything about it, but he said he would start doing some research. Then I got another call from Mantle. And from the UK, he was back in the UK. And we chatted, and I said, well, I let some people know they're going to do some checking about this. Well, before long, the story started to trickle out. And at UFO Magazine, of course, I started working on this right away. Now, I ended up eventually calling Mantle. I interviewed him. Some other people got involved. A guy that was, I believe, Bob Shell, wasn't it, Mark, the guy that's in prison now?
Yes.
Who was a photography expert. And anyway, Mark and I did not know each other then. But Mark got caught up in this and started doing, and boy, I'm telling you, when I tell you that Mark Center is a whiz and an ace when it comes to research, take me at my word, because he really dug deep into this. So to make a long story short, it ended up being the alien autopsy. Now, I mean, I can get involved in the minutia of this, but that's not why we're here today. We're here today to hear about what Mark did. So, Mark, do you want to pick it up there, buddy?
Sure. So my involvement, I met Don in the early 90s at a UFO con, I think up in the Bay Area where I used to live. And once this story broke, I started to call him either at his home or in their office. I don't know what they had at that point. And a guy who needs to be said, crazy video Dave Aaron, he somehow got a copy of the footage that was sent from the UK to Fox to Kiviat. He got it from somebody, and I used to trade with him because he made a living off of quasi not bootlegged material. So he sent me a copy of that thing, and I'm watching it. And I think Don got the same thing. It actually had the debris footage on there that they didn't use for a long time. And this whole thing breaks about the cameraman and the history of the footage. And this broke on the CompuServe's paranormal chat. I forget the name of that chat, but it was the early Facebook, and we were up there just banging away on Santilli because, to his credit, he would go up there and he would answer, quote unquote, our questions. And I got so involved in it. I'm not going to say it ruined my first marriage. There was other problems, but you know, it had something to do with it because you get so involved in this that I went around California mostly, and I talked to special effects people like the K&B group, and I talked to Stan Winston, and I talked to cameramen from the war who used the Filmo camera supposedly, and I just went deep into this thing, and I was printing a news paper, a news letter that was called UFOs, Aliens, and You. And I sent out and gave away, because I never took any money, over 300,000 pages. And I did it all on my own. And I went to the conventions. In fact, I went to one convention in the desert, and I was questioning some information that they had in some of the books that they were selling. And I was accused of being a G-man, working for the government because I wasn't making any money off of my stuff. And I said, I don't want to make any money off the stuff. I'd like to get an answer to this footage. And sometime around 15 years ago, I started an alien autopsy email group. Santilli was in it initially. It's still kind of going, but it's pretty much dead now. But we went back and forth in here with believers and non-believers. And lo and behold, a guy named Spiros Malaris shows up, and he's based in the UK. And he showed up because Philip Mantle was his connection, both in the UK. I won't get deep into what Spiros does, but he was into video, not really film, and he's a magician and something of an artist. He's a Greek guy. I could have him appear on your show if you'd like. He can recount the story. He did that for Don, and I thought the show went quite well. And Malaris comes on there, and he starts saying, I did the whole thing. I made the dummy. I shot it. I put up the money for the second autopsy because there was two of them. The first one wasn't done very well for various reasons. They say, well, we need to shoot another one. Santilli says, I don't have the money. And Spiros says, I'll pay for it. So he does all this, comes onto my group, and shares with us, first time ever in the world, he shares with us unaged debris footage. No scratches, no dirt, no nothing. And we look at this and say, well, this isn't the same stuff. And he says, yeah, because it's unaged. Well, do you have any more? Nope. I signed a contract with Santilli that I'd give him everything back. And this was found on an old hard drive, just, data. And he found it and he shared it with all of us. I still have it. And, one thing leads to another, and we end up with the Iman show from the UK, where Santilli comes out with his buddies and changes the entire story and says, well, there was footage. It was so bad that we couldn't save it, except for a few little clips or frames. We reconstructed, we rebuilt this footage, inserted these frames in there. I couldn't tell you where the frames are, but they're in there. Yada, 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 yada. Where we stand right now with the footage, and this is crazy, is that Santilli got the American copyright for that footage, saying that it came from Italy from an unknown cameraman, and you can find the documents on the web. So Spyros he's a dog with a bone, and he ain't gonna quit. He's gone around and told people to take the footage off their channels and things like that because he owns it. He has the U.S. copyright for the same footage. Think about that. So they have it. Very odd, but that's true. So when I would go present all the information, I would basically give the rights to both of them. Santilli went quiet, says Spyros was somewhat involved in the making of a documentary shot at the same time of Spyros in Roswell as he's talking to different people and such. I got so deep into it that he said that he took a plane ride over the crash site or sites, and he shot that. And I pushed him and I said, what's the pilot's name? And he said his last name's Korn, just like what you eat. So I track the guy down and I call him up and I say, hey, did you ever take a guy up who has a thick accent with his girlfriend who has a thick accent, who, by the way, plays one of the doctors in the autopsy? If you look, you'll see protrudencies if you look closely. And he said, yeah, I think so. And I started to push him a bit, and I could tell he wasn't going to play. But I did get, firsthand proof that, yeah, he went there, took a plane ride, shot this for the documentary. I don't know if it ever got released. I have it, but I don't know if it got released. Where we stand now is we have Santilli and his story. We remade it. It's like remaking the Mona Lisa with a little bit of the paint chips from the original. And we have Spyros, who put out a great book. I mean, full color, glossy book with everything that he had left over on how this all came to be, the loft where they made it, where they made everything. Supposedly they made the debris footage that looks like it's in a tent with that guy with the thin tie and all that. Supposedly that was made in the same room. And if somebody was to ask me now what I think of the footage, I think it's a sham. I think it's a ripoff. And not only do I base that on what Spyros has come up and said, but what Santilli won't say. When Bob Kiviat was on here, and I've talked to him a lot, he asked me if I would appear on The Greatest Hoaxes. And I basically told him straight up, I don't like the way you present the information, so I'm not interested, because of what he did with the autopsy. I'm not a producer. I'm not in this for money. Until he got footage with alien tested, the show never should have been made, period. Or if it was going to be made, something could have been made for YouTube or something like that and just get the information out. If you're really after the truth, right? But I get it. He's a producer, okay? They want to make money. Possibly he won't badmouth Kal Korf because there might be a little bit of chance out there for a little money with that guy again, because he appeared on The Greatest Hoaxes. So I call it out as a fraud because of what I believe Spyros is saying is true, and the slimy, weaselly way that Santilli has presented this information and won't answer basic questions. And again, and one side of his face says, I don't have any footage left. It's all been sold to Volker, Spielberg, or whomever, and there's nothing left to release. And then a year later, oh yeah, we still have more stuff to release. We're waiting for the right time. So you keep it going, right? You keep it going. So you can have like they made the Ant and Dec comedy film, The Alien Autopsy, which was not bad. It was okay. At the end of that thing, there's some black and white footage we've never seen before, and people jumped on it and said, "That's more footage. That's more footage." So they make that, and what pissed off Spyros is that they said you can be in the movie if you'd like in a little part, but nobody's getting paid. It's all for free. It's all a lark. Nobody's going to make any money off this movie. And he basically told him to pound sand because he signed a non-disclosure, and he kept to that for 15 years or something. And they had a Greek sausage guy play his role, and he got pissed off, and that's why he came out. He said, "Screw this guy! You did it for free."
I'm sorry. Hold on. 2 words got thrown together. Cracked me up. Greek and sausage.
Oh yeah.
Greek sausage guy?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Because supposedly what Spyro says is when they got the intros, they went to a place and bought them, right? They bought the stomach and the liver and all that stuff to use it in the movie. So what we have here is a very smart for-profit guy in Santilli. I'm not going to say he isn't. Don would know about the money more than me, but millions of dollars were made off this thing, even though they would say we're giving the footage away to let the researchers and the broadcasters do their own research and try to prove or disprove this. I know from what Don has told me and others, millions of dollars were made off of this. Spyros got none of it. Was then made fun of in the movie. Only he would know that, and his friends, of course, because we didn't know about him yet. But the last thing I heard was that Santilli, and this was easily a decade ago, was floating the idea based on some things that were thrown to him about some kind of a Broadway-style play based on the footage. So he'll do whatever he needs to do to keep this thing going, except tell the truth, except be open about it. One would ask, you might ask, why doesn't anybody get sued for this stuff? Because this is clearly, there's a case here to be made, and Spyro said that he would do it. There is a case to be made that this is just a money grab. And I bought the VHS tape from Santilli when he sold it for $65. I bought 2 of them, and all over the packaging and all over the publicity, it said original footage from the 26 rolls of film shot by the cameraman. Well, that's fraudulent now because he says, oh no, there's only snippets that have been reinserted into the film. It's a recreation. Right. And I questioned him about that. And I said, how about I get my money back? And he said, I will give you your money back. You have to send me back the tapes. And I said, I think I'll keep them. So I didn't. But he did say that he would give me my money back. So, the story is much longer. But like Don said, you can really get into the minutia of the thing. The coolest thing that happened with me in the whole thing, to be honest, was I'm a huge movie fan. I love hyper-violent, gory practical effects films, mostly from the 80s is when I really got into it. And I got to meet the guys who were like the best, the guys who do the Walking Dead effects today, right? So they did the effects on the Romero films and all that. And they actually allowed me to come up there and film them. And we talked for 2 hours about this thing. They showed me around. And for me, that was like a coup. It was, oh man, this is great. So it wasn't all bad. Was it a total waste of time? Well, no. I mean, Don hasn't wasted his time. I don't have a magazine and things, but, I'm kind of happy that I spent the time, met a lot of cool people, met a lot of lying snakes as well. kind of don't want to be involved in the subject too much. Because I think the majority of it's, like Don would say, horse shit. Does that mean we haven't been visited? No. Does that mean that there isn't some cool stuff out there? No. But it means that the majority of this stuff is horse shit. And even Dave died. Video Dave died not knowing the answer. Stanton Friedman's dead, not knowing the answer, right? All of us on this panel could die not actually knowing the answers. So, at some point, you might want to just go watch a violent, gory film and have a beer. Enjoy life. Right, Don?
Speaking of violent, gory, what's like the most recent one you watched?
Frightener Part 2, the clown film. That is one of the most gory movies based on the 80s style.
Yeah.
Part 1 I saw, I didn't know anything about it, and when he takes the hacksaw,
I kind of like the first one.
And
I haven't seen the second one.
Chick in half.
Yeah.
And the second one, I gotta hand it to him, man. They raised the money by social, and it made like $18 million at the theater. Crazy, right? Not a perfect film, but man, oh man. I mean, my wife loves this stuff too because, we're into it. But she's turning her
Terrifier.
head. Oh my God. Because it was just over the top. How gory and gross can we get? And they did a spectacular job. So, yeah.
Well, the clown and the director is going to be at a local con next month.
And it's Terrifier. Terrifier.
Yeah.
And they've talked about part 3, and they're going to revert back to what they did before part 1, which was like a little short that I've actually not bothered to see yet. I've got it around here someplace. But, yeah, as far as gore, oh, yeah. I mean, the practical effects, Don would agree with me. When you have somebody in a suit, like be it the aliens in part 2 or dog soldiers, if it's done correctly, you can suspend belief a little bit better than in like Aliens Part 3, where it's all digital, or in that remake with Will Smith of The Last Man on Earth. The only problem I had with that film is they didn't go practical.
They should have been absolutely, the creatures weren't believable.
Right. And that ruined it, because the rest of the film I kind of liked. But again, I'm not a filmmaker. It's not my money. So, and I'm waiting for the movie Rust. You may have heard of that. Some sort of a gun incident. But if Hollywood follows through with that movie, you'll know how depraved Hollywood is.
I do think that it's really neat that we finally have a way of really parsing who all the Baldwins are. There are those that never murdered anybody, and then the one who actually murdered somebody.
Yeah, I saw a great meme because I'm into meme culture, and it had the Baldwin on Saturday Night Live as he plays Trump with bars in front, and it said the only Trump that's going to go to jail. Yes.
We've had some great comments in the chat, and I do want to welcome everybody that joined since the show started. We have Lord Thoth. All hail, Lord Thoth is here. And, of course, another fan of you guys, Andy Morrow from the UK, Alex Moore, Dragon Ruse, and Joseph Dredd. And welcome to the show, guys. Joseph Dredd is the first cousin's, brother's roommate from college of the Judge Dredd. He's not actually related to Judge Dredd. It's just they were roommates.
Was a great movie, the new one. Oh my goodness, that was a great.
Oh, we're finally getting a sequel.
Well,
so far,
hope. Yeah, but
yeah,
boy,
it's really being tossed around as happening, but we'll see. I mean, it'd be a huge mistake not to.
Yes,
and of course, the Dredd movie is basically almost like a straight across the board remake of The Raid, but I didn't care. I'm like, it's a great film. I love it.
Oh yeah, those were our go-to is in Indonesian fight films because those guys give it up.
And that's an American director, by the way, that did the Raid films.
Yeah. Those guys give it up when they say we need you to jump off this roof. and we need you to bounce off the concrete, they say, how far? And they do.
Well, and everywhere in Asia, you can be paid a little extra money to let the star knock you out.
Yeah. Oh,
They'll do that. Like, what's his name? Big kung fu artist did Ip Man. I'm for some reason drawing a blank.
Donnie
on his
Yen.
name.
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen actually pays the stuntman extra money to let him make contact.
Yeah. They're very good at it. He's actually the main bad guy in the new John Wick movie.
Yeah.
Which is going to be great. And Scott Adkins, our favorite white Caucasian film fighter. He's
Martialist. Martial artist.
But
it's not Jeff Speakman?
No. I mean, in his time, he was great. Right.
Jeff was good at one thing, Arnie's or Screama, stick fighting.
Right.
That was his big thing.
And it all comes, the director of Wick has that stunt thing in Los Angeles that everybody goes to now. So when you see the Atomic Blonde, she went to that school.
But that movie pissed me off.
Why is
because she threw a push kick, a front push kick. She weighs maybe $125, and she kicked a guy that's over 200 pounds, and she doesn't go backwards. That's why I love Gina Carano when she does a fight scene.
Oh yeah,
when she throws a kick, she moves backwards.
Yeah,
but not Atomic Blonde. That was terrible.
Well, see, I dug it. I thought for what it is, they did a great job. But you could look at something like the Underworld films with that fight.
That's fantasy martial arts, yeah.
Right, but let's be honest. Does she look great in that suit? Come on.
That's why we went to see it.
Yeah, I saw them all. I got the discs. It's like I don't need to believe it, not really, not really, because I'm a misogynist. Okay.
And of course, Monkey Jeebus does not work in our world of physics. He can kick up to 700 pounds. Think your Monkey Jeebus, come again. I love Monkey. He's awesome.
I don't know where Don is at on the footage. He called the footage out long time ago. I stayed on the fence, firmly on the fence, because I was so involved in it. And Don's got more time in it than I do in the whole deal here. But much like visitation and all that, I need physical proof. Okay.
Well, I got to tell you, even not as an initiated person, I call bullshit on that right off the bat, because I worked in the medical field, and I'm like, no autopsy has ever been like that. Nobody conducts an autopsy.
No, I don't disagree. But then again, if you give some credence to what was the autopsy guy's name, Don? The very famous guy, might be alive at 120 still. He was in the movie. He did the autopsies on Monroe and all that.
Oh, yeah. The guy from originally out of Pittsburgh.
Sarah Weck.
Sarah Weck, yeah.
Right. Now, when he comes up and says, hey, this is interesting. I don't really exactly know what I'm going to look at here. I don't give it 100% credence, but I can't discount it. I haven't cut up thousands of bodies. He has.
Well, two things caused me to call bullshit on this back in 94, 95. And I bounced this off of Bob Kiviat. And of course, at the time, he was wrapped up in the middle of that Fox production. He wasn't going to do anything that would impede the process that they were working on. There was too much money involved. But the two things, I called up Santilli, I believe twice, and talked to him, okay? And the guy lied through his teeth to me. And, buddy, the one thing that'll get me down on you, and that's to lie to me to my face. And I discovered he was lying to me. And one thing had to do with the cameraman. Now, we've mentioned the cameraman, but the backstory supposedly on the cameraman was he was a World War II military veteran that was into documenting battles and that kind of stuff. There was actually out here in California, there was a group, a fraternity, if you will, of former combat photographers and cameramen. And one of my fans on my original radio show, UFOs Tonight, his dad was one of these guys. And he put me in touch with them. And you have no idea what a huge, big story this was at the time. This was gigantic. And I got a couple of those camera guys on my radio show. Okay. And they were trying to figure out who this guy might have been because they all knew each other. All right. Well, then I got 2 pieces of evidence, air quotes here, sent from Santilli. One was a photocopy of what was originally the canister label on the film that supposedly was the film of the autopsy. And then the second thing they sent me was a statement that Santilli got from the alleged cameraman. And I read that statement. And the second I read that statement, I knew this was bullshit. No American ever wrote this statement because he referred to his time in the forces. Now, Brits talk about the forces, not Americans. Americans will say stuff like, when I was in, if you were a Marine, when I was in the crotch, or I was in the mean green machine, or when I was in the military, or when I was in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, whatever. Not the forces. And that's strictly British. So I knew at that, and I've told you this, Mark, how many times?
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yep.
I knew it was the purest bullshit. So I called it bullshit. Then Kiviat, okay, I had been waiting because, hey, I originally took this fucking story to Bob Kiviat. It was me that took the story to him. He didn't know anything about it. He kept promising me after they secured the footage to call me down. Well, 2 weeks before the show aired in August, one Sunday morning, he calls up Vicky and I. We jump in the car, drove over to his office, walked in, and he played the footage for me. Then he said, well, Don, he said, I want you to do the investigation on the cameraman. 2 fucking weeks before it airs.
Ready?
2
Go.
weeks. And by the way, I can't pay you. But here's your desk. Here's your phone. Okay. And I looked at him. I said, are you bullshitting me? You can't pay me. You want me to take time off of UFO magazine, okay? And we're a small operation. You want me to leave and do this for free? Well, let me ask you, is Commander Beefcake, who's narrating this, okay, Jonathan Frakes I'm referring to,
Right.
is Commander Beefcake doing it for free? Okay, so, I said, well, I'll see you, Bob. We walked out.
Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour. And before we do, I want to get into a little bit of the comments here, Mark. I apologize.
Yeah, that's all right.
So we've got some greetings to basically Don and myself from some members of the show. Chat called Joe's Atmosphere says good morning. Of course, Andy Morrow from the UK says, hello, everyone. John Osteen says, I used to love when Video Dave called in. And Anima got onto your pronunciation of something. I don't know what it was, Don. She's saying,
Wien.
Oh, Wien. Yeah, because, Wien. Yeah, W is a V in German. And actually, if you're from Vienna, you're a Wiener. So that's where we get the word wiener from.
You're a Wiener?
Yeah. It's like, so, are you a big wiener? Let that sink in. Artificial intelligence won't let me face swap Alien Autopsy because it says it's inappropriate. I'm sure. Yeah, because he sent me an image, actually. Monkey Judas sent me an image in a private chat. And it's a picture of my face on the alien, the autopsy.
He posted that in the PCM group too. So
Oh yeah, so I'm not surprised. I don't always read everything in there. I feel bad, but it is what it is. I'm busy. Terrible pronunciation, Monkey Jeebus. And Bush McFadden is here. Good morning, Bush. Hey everyone, dropping a like, going to watch the trial by motherfucker. He just dropped in to say hi and then left. That's not good. Fuck you, Bush. I love you, buddy. And then, of course, our good friend Brian, a.k.a. the 70s rock fan, dropped in to say hi to everybody. Thanks for dropping in. He's from Scotland. Lives in Canada now. I'm like, that's kind of slumming it, but okay. For a Scotsman, not for anybody else. Canada's fucking great. I'm sure I'm going to get shit now from Mr. Tukadruk and every other Canadian that watches the show.
Hey, guys, let's see if you can see this.
Those are rocks brought in by Bailey, isn't it?
Yes. Vicky saves these. Here, honey.
Bailey and her damn rock fetish.
So Bailey's a rock hound?
Yes,
she's a rock hound. Yes, she is. She is literally a rock hound. It's funny. She'll just bring in rocks. Now, does she try to eat them?
She chews them.
Just chews on them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What did Vicky say? I just heard Vicky make a noise.
She does that periodically. It just pops out. So
my favorite thing, Mark, is when you hear her banging pans in the background, it means she's cooking.
Or it's time for Dawn to cook.
It's my little tease of Vicky. It's like, oh, is she cooking again? Bang, smash. But
that woman cracks me up. She does.
She's pretty awesome, man. And how's she doing right now with the recovery?
Really good, Gary. Really good. She and I'll tell you, I thought, now she had her other leg done a year or so ago, her other knee, and it seemed like it took her a lot longer to recover from that. But she's I'm just tickled to death how good she's doing now.
That's outstanding.
Good to hear.
That's outstanding. So I guess we're at 53. We got 3 minutes left. Mark, did you have anything you wanted to say there? Because I interrupted you.
No. It's it's been very helpful to not only meet Dawn, but it's turned into basically a daily sort of a deal about talking about movies and talking crap on people behind their backs, which is always fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of people that deserve it. We probably do too. When it comes to the autopsy, if you want to have Spyros Malaris on, I can probably set that up. It's worth it to hear his view of it and get it out there to as many people as you can. And I think that it's a lesson learned, because let's be honest, Peltdown Man, maybe the Patterson footage, et cetera. There's so much of this stuff. It's kind of like trying to find racism in America. Can't find enough? make some up. So it did burn me out, though. I put in so much time into that. Basically, the only cases I ever really worked on was the Meyer case a little bit. That's what got me into this. I bought the double Laserdisc set of the Beam ships and made my first call as a researcher to Mr. Elder, who put the stuff out from the Phoenix group in Arizona. Had some good conversations with him. I spent some time on that, and I helped Royce Myers III extensively with the Dr. Jonathan Reed case and
Sean Morton David.
Yeah. I helped a lot there. I traveled around. Sean David was sued, yada, yada, yada. So he asked me to go up to the courthouse and get the paperwork for him, which I did. Then I shipped it off to him. He was always cool to me, the UFO watchdog. And I just, boy, oh boy. The funny thing is, right, I get into the Meyer case. Can't say 100% of it's bull. Okay, I can't, but the majority of it is.
We're down to 10 seconds. I'm sorry, Mark. Let's bring this back, Myers case. Let's bring this up when we come back. Chanel, go ahead, knock us out of the park.
Hi guys, this is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
A birthday without her mom, an anniversary without her husband, her wedding day without her dad. These are the days when military families feel it most of all. The loss of their soldier, their sailor, their airman, their Marine, their Coast Guardsman. Families never forget their loved ones lost to war or illness or suicide. Families never forget, and neither do we. We are TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. We provide resources, support, and comfort to heal the hearts and meet the needs of grieving military families, all at no cost to them. Your generosity can make an enormous difference in the lives of the families of our fallen military heroes. Our military families need to know they are not alone and they are not forgotten. Show them your support at taps.org.
Important question facing humanity.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Oh wow, we survived. Welcome back from the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA.
I swear to God, I sound so retarded. Before we go into it, Hex Allen Comics dropped a line saying, "Good morning, Earthling. Good to see you, Hex Allen. I haven't seen you in a few weeks. Hope everything's going well." And then, of course, Anima Confucius says, "Wiener sausages are called Frankfurters in Austria." She's my girlfriend. I can make fun of her accent. Let's see. Dork Knight says, "Nice try, Gary." I don't know what that's about, but what the heck? And then John Osteen says, "All legendary cases that Mark's mentioning." And Joe's Atmosphere concurs. Arizona, Nevada, UFO Central. Hex Allen says, just says hello to everybody. And let's see, this one is from John O'Staines again. Time to get my Israeli Super Secret Service jacket out for Korf segment. I sense a some bitch coming. So let's see what happens here. Oh, and a nice little comment from Joe again, or as Buford T. Justice says it, some bitch, which is kind of the way my grandfather said. His was the plural. He would say sons of bitches. My grandfather, he was like old school Midwest accent. And one of the coolest things my grandpa ever did, they were in the trenches of World War I, and this new guy was scared shitless, and he was on his knees praying there at the trench wall, and this one guy started mocking him, telling him to get up on the wall, and my grandfather pulled out his pistol and shoved it into the guy's belly, pulling the hammer back, and he says, "You ever interrupt a prayer in front of me again, I'll put daylight through you. You understand me?" And the guy's eyes got really big, and he goes, "Yeah, Evie, yeah." Because that's what my grandpa was nicknamed, Evie, for Everett, Evie. And then just turned and walked away. And then my grandfather told that kid, he says, "You keep praying until I tell you to get your ass up." And that's what he did. And because a lot of people thought my grandfather was an atheist, and because you'll find atheists in the foxholes and trenches, you will. As I tell people, you're more likely in infantry, you're going to find an atheist than you are a liberal. You hardly ever see anybody that's got that liberal minded in the trenches. They tend to be very patriotic, right-wing conservative infantry. Been my experience. But anyway, you were about to explain something, Mark, and I want you to finish it because it was starting to sound really interesting. So go for it, man.
Well, this dovetails into Calvin Carlton Korf.
Yes. Which is the second part of the show. Yeah.
Yes. I got into the Laserdisc format in the 90s because, again, I've been collecting films and I've got thousands of them at the house here and such. And I picked up the Contact from the Pleiades double disc set. And I watched it. And back in those days, you could freeze frame and zoom in and such, right? It's the only way you could really do that in good quality. And I didn't know anything about this. I just bought it, right? And I bring it home, and what freaked me out was the craft above the highway with cars that are going underneath it and it's spinning. And I'm looking at it going, my God. Again, knew nothing about it. I call up Lee Elders, who put this thing out with his wife, Brett, who's still alive. I think he's dead. And I asked him about it. And I said, hey, and this was right around the Mexico flap in the early 90s. And I said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about the footage and what your beliefs are about it and yada, yada, yada. And he cut me off and he said, there are more important things that are going on now. That case is dead. And by calling him, I figured this out. Him and his wife were the ones who were editing and putting together the Jaime Maussan videos that you could buy, which I bought all three of those, the Something of the Sun, I think it was called, and I have them around here. They were the ones who were handling the video.
Well, that happened during a very famous solar eclipse in July of 1991. Okay.
Right.
And at that time, Jaime Maussan was being billed as the Mike Wallace of Mexico. Number one.
That's
and
right.
Everybody thought he was a serious and honest news guy. Well, it didn't take me long, probably as long as to finish this cup of coffee I got, to figure out Jaime Maussan was full of shit as a Christmas turkey. Okay. He was strictly in it to make the pesos. That was it.
Right. And I by making that phone call, and it was the first phone call I ever made on the subject, I figured out, oh, you guys are the ones who are editing this stuff together. And you're and you're putting this stuff out. So it got me thinking, well, gee, I wonder if it's as cool as what I'm seeing on the Laserdisc. So I go and I get the stuff, and it's very interesting stuff up there. I go to a convention. I sit down and have lunch with Jaime Maussan and Phil Mantle. And I asked Maussan, I said, that amazing clip that was filmed from 3 or 4 different cameras in 3 or 4 different places, like the showpiece of the whole thing. What happened before and after that? I don't know what you mean. Well, was there footage before the edit and after the edit? Like, what happened to the thing? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but you're the one putting the stuff out. I'd like to know, did it zip off? Did it explode? Did somebody reach out with their fingers and grab it? I mean, and he was like totally clueless. And that really taught me a lot there. So when I met Phil, and then the autopsy happened shortly after that, and he was very involved with that, mostly because of the work he's done, and he was based in the UK. One thing leads to another, and nobody had heard from Kal Korf in a long, long time at this point. He put out the Billy Meyer book, which did very well for him. He put out the Roswell book that did very well for him. Tried to put out some other books and didn't quite get to it. And I actually reached out. I found Kal Korf at yahoo.com, and I reached out to him and I said, hey, and he kind of knew my name and things. And I said, what's going on? What's happening? That started a back and forth between him, Mantle, and I, that Kal Korf was going to have us on TV with our own shows and just blowing smoke up our ass big time. And that turned out to be YouTube. Now remember, this is the early 90s, right? And I think that's about when it launched, I think, or around there. It might have been the late 90s. I'm not sure. But I was like, well, this guy's got all these tall tales about I'm in Prague. I write for these newsletters. I'm a big deal. I'm going to go to India. I'm going to go fight terrorism with nano dust that we invented to put on the ground, and it would stick on your shoes, and we could do stuff with the nano dust. This went on and on and on and on. Nothing ever happened from that. And what really busted it open, and I think Don would agree with me, is we think he's from the UK. He started Kal Korf is an idiot.blogspot.com in 2008. Because in Prague, Korf was writing some off-the-wall stuff in a free subway newspaper, basically a throwaway, about how he was a Secret Service guy, and I knew about the weapons of mass destruction before anybody else, and I met with people in the FBI and the CIA and
I'm going to guess that you guys' alarms were going off early on in conversations with this guy.
Of course. Yeah. Initially, no, because I didn't really know him, right? So we're talking about all this, and he's throwing out all these ideas, and it just got heavier and heavier, and the emails got longer and longer.
Now, wait a minute, Mark. Wait a minute. We got to go back to the mid to latter 90s when Kal Korf stepped on his own tiny little pecker, big time, with Art Bell.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, Art Bell was huge at that time. That's YUGE, huge, and coast to coast, right? Well, Korf was on another radio show. Jeff Rentz, a guy by the name of Jeff Rentz. And that's a story in itself.
Yes.
That name got me and Dwight Schultz kicked off the radio satellite network we were on because we did an expose on this guy right before the satellite radio station was going to bring Rentz on. So And that's a story in itself. But with that being said, Korf made an allegation that Art Bell had discovered that Kal Korf was supposed to go on another radio station. I think it was either in Arizona or New Mexico. And Bell called up station management. This is what Korf said on this other radio show. And Art Bell threatened to pull Coast to Coast from their feed. They wouldn't be able to pick up Coast to Coast anymore, okay, if they allowed Kal Korf to speak. Well, this got back to Art Bell. And Bell, of course, nothing like that ever happened. All right. That Bell could have given a shit. He didn't even know who this clown was. Okay. But then Art got fired up. Okay, Mark.
Yeah. So, yes, that's what really kind of was the first mistake that Korf made, and he got called out for it. Had to say a public apology, which is on the web, and you can find it. When that guy put out Kal Korf is an idiot.blogspot.com, and you should all go up there to take a look at that. A expose website was then put out, a deeply researched, huge website that's supposed to relaunch soon. It kind of shut him down for a while, but we had 2008 to 2011 of just insane Kal Korf proclamations and videos, and I'm in India now, and I'm fighting terrorism, and I'm going to go to some sort of a war game, and he posted photos of him at a paintball ranch, and they were paintballing, and that was his military war game. And I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. So it's another one of those the lunacy that comes with ufology and the crypto stuff and all that, right? 8 years ago, he said that he was going to write a book or series of books called Secret Wars, and it's actually listed on Amazon. And there's 3 one-star reviews of it. It says it's out of print because it's never been printed. Right? Again and again and again and again, making these claims of what I'm going to do. And if you give me any crap about this, I am going to sue you. There are people outside of your house right now watching your house, waiting for you to come out. I'm going to play the part of a well-known highfalutin lawyer in LA and steal his name and send Don Ecker fake material on how we're going to go after you. It goes on and on and on and on. It was a lot of fun for a while to research him and send this information out to people. He quieted up quite a bit after the group calls himself Korfers, and Korfers do what? They go Korfing, right? So all these guys go Korfing, and they find all this stuff, or they make crazy memes up about him to try to shut him up, right? Well, the latest is this, my friends. This is a breaking news. Brandon Fugel, the guy that bought the Skinwalker Ranch, he's on Twitter right now, and he tweets out, finally, someone is exposing this scumbag and his lies. He's a blackmailer and a criminal, and he should be in jail. I follow at Kal Korf Exposed. So it's sort of ramped up again because you have a multi-gazillionaire who's been hounded by Kal Korf, and he ain't putting up with it. And he was asked, how come you didn't like sue him or go after him? And he said, well, I'm a busy guy. I was hoping that it would just go away. And there's a lot of truth to that. Calvin will see something shiny over to the left and forget what he was doing with his right hand. So I can understand that. But I mean, that guy's a known guy, right? I mean, he's known because of the show, and he's huge in Utah. So I don't even think Don knows this yet, but this was just posted that Brandon Fugel is calling out Kal Korf as a blackmailer and a criminal. And Don could call him out as, the stolen valor and a lunatic and crazy. And again, I can see why Kiviat stays out of this kind of stuff. For various reasons, there's a chance to make money with the guy again, but it's also, do you really want to get involved in this with a lunatic that nobody really knows about, except for us and the people who have researched him and released the information? I did want to tell you that with Cal is an idiot.blogspot.com. You can go to YouTube to Cal Israel, and you'll see loads of videos up there. Some are played for fun. Some are his craziness. You can go to Twitter for Cal Israel. And you can go to Amazon and check out his books and things. I don't know what Don thinks about this, but it is true. Calvin Carlton Korf, and he hates it when we call him that because his name isn't Calvin. One of the Korfers got his birth certificate and published it, but we call him Calvin anyway. He was one of the first Americans to go to the Billy Meyer camp, and he went there. He supposedly talked to them. He went. The name he went there under was Steve Thomas. And he had really long hair and a beard and all that. And he went there to talk to him, and that's what he based his book on. So, hey, okay. He was one who helped kind of call that case out as horse crap. I don't know what to think about his Roswell book because I've never read it. But I do have his double VHS set of his expose on the assassination of JFK, and it's called Final Verdict, the JFK murder solved. And he says that he was the first one to solve that. He's the first one to solve a lot of things if you listen to him. Does Don give him any credence at all for the Meyer work that he did in that book? Because I actually think that he does deserve a little bit for that.
Yeah, sure I do. You can pass gas all day long, and every once in a while you will have a crap. Okay?
Yep.
But, I loathe that son of a bitch for a couple of reasons. Number one, stolen valor. He claimed to be first a captain, then a full bird colonel, promoted from captain to full bird colonel in the Israeli-founded Special Secret Forces. A totally made up bullshit, no truth or anything to it, secret group of spies. And look, if you're an intelligence officer, are you going to go online and vomit the fact that you're an operative all over the internet? I mean, come on, it's beyond lunacy. But this guy claimed that he chased Nazis, real Nazis, World War II kind of Nazis all over Europe. And then he was on the hunt in the Middle East. These were claims he made on the hunt in the Middle East, chasing Islamic terrorists with nuclear weapons. Okay, trying to track them down. This guy makes Walter Mitty look honest. Now, the other thing he did that I loathe, Kevin Randall, one of the most well-known Roswell researchers, he and his former partner, Don Schmidt, basically wrote the other book on Roswell, a 2-war veteran. Randall was a Vietnam veteran, chopper pilot. Then in Iraq, okay, he was in the reserves, was called to active duty. Went over to Iraq. Actually, Gary had trigger time over there. Okay. Actually had trigger time. And Korf called Randall a fucking coward. And when he did that, I went off on that little fat fuck. Okay. I really did.
That portly son bitch.
Well, I do get steamed up about that guy, but he actually took the name of a very prominent lawyer here in sunny Southern California. I did what Mark didn't mention. I did 2 radio shows, exposés on Korf, using Korf's own voice on them. Okay, you can find one of them up on YouTube right now, the Kal Korf expose, and it is in many regards pretty funny. But when I did that, he went apoplectic. Okay, and he was like that little kid that was told you can't have any more chocolate chip cookies. Get out of the cookie jar. And he went nuts. And when he did, he's bouncing off walls, trying to figure out how to get back to me. So he's going to scare me. So he gets the name of this prominent lawyer, phonies up some legal documents, serves me these legal documents online in an email, as if any lawyer would do that. And I get this, you're being sued. So I called up Mark and I said, oh, you ain't going to believe this one. I sent it to him. And so I called this lawyer up and I said, hi, my name is Don Ecker. I just got supposedly service in an email from your firm that I'm being sued on the behalf of Colonel Kal K. Korf. And he's like, what? It took me 30 seconds, okay, to know definitively this guy is nuts. So when that happened, boy, that gave us a new gist to really go balls to the wall, didn't it, Mark?
Oh, it did. And in the chat on the YouTube side of things, I've been posting the socials for the Korfing that's been done, for the episode 1 of the 8-parter that Don did. A lot of work was put into that stuff. And a lot of it was done because it needed to be done, but a lot of it was done for fun. It was just like, it's so fun. We watched this guy melt down just for 2 years, a huge meltdown, yelling and screaming. And the last thing that he talked about was he had a girlfriend. He moved back from India to Reno, okay? Evidently his mother lives there. And we've always stayed out of the mother thing. He's got a brother who's a bit of a dirtbag who lives up in Seattle or something. And a sister.
Now, wait a minute. Don't gloss over that. Don't you gloss over
I'll
that.
Leave that up to you.
No. No, you're mentioning his dirtbag brother. His dirtbag brother was in the Slam State Penitentiary for what, Mark?
For a little thing he had with the cops and trying to run a cop over and shoot a cop, and
Yeah, and he got shot in the head. The
right.
brother got shot in the head. Now, obviously, it was a grazing shot because the guy's still alive.
Right.
But then Calvin decided he was really Perry Mason
Yes.
and really fucked up his brother's legal case. Mark, take it away.
He sent just reams of information to him. He said, here's what I'm doing and here's who I am and you need to listen to me. And it just turned it
threatening
into
the sheriff of the county.
Right,
Okay?
right. And the cop who was involved, I actually called him because I said, this is lunacy. Is it true? So I called the cop, and while I'm on the phone with him, his wife's saying, you've got to stop this. You've got to stop this. Because I guess it got in the way of him and his wife and things. But yeah, complete craziness. We pretty much stayed away from the family for the most part. I will bring this up, though. When Don said that he was in Germany trying to find Nazis, it was with his mother. He traveled over there with his mom, and his mom went out on these, call them whatever, crusades and things to go.
What is he, Mark Wahlberg? What?
It's just crazy.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
So, part of the expose Don did was Korf was involved with this gal, and you can find this up there on the YouTubes. And he was making all these promises to her, and she's got a kid who was probably 10 at the time, making all these promises of how, when I come back to Seattle, or you can come over here and stay with me, and yada, yada, yada. He starts making all of these claims to her about what he's doing. He's making claims like one of my early girlfriends climaxed 140 times in one second. Yeah, and this is the type of stuff that he would post on the web. Well, not so much on the web. She gave us that stuff, and we posted it on the web. But but the latest was, and I'm not going to get into her because she seems like a nice gal. There was a podcaster who he sort of befriended. They started to do the thing together, and a romance was kindled. A bit of a long distance thing, but there was photos of them on the web and things of them together. Well, she breaks up with this guy because the last thing for her was when he said 3 days a week I work with some sort of police or something like that in forensics. And she's like, we talk on the phone all the time and we're doing our radio show and you're telling me that you're doing this 3 days a week? And she finally had enough. We asked her on the blog spot, she chimed in there, and we asked her, well, did you talk about the blog? Oh, that's just haters, he said. That's just haters. Haters that started in 2008 and are still going on today. That's a lot of hate, I suppose. So he says, I've been shooting this new show, which he always says. I'm writing books. I'm shooting shows. And in this show that we're going around the nation to shoot, I'm thinking that I'm going to put in, now remember, this is UFOs and cryptoids and stuff. I'm going to put in dating advice and my current situation with dating. Really? You're going to have a crypto UFO show and you're going to put in dating advice and how your dating is going, yada, yada, yada. Recently, he said that he's dating this gal named Catherine or something like that, and he deleted that post. So you kind of get an idea of, are there other people? Let's go around the room. Can you think of other people in the field that are similar to what he's doing? I'm sure Don's got a laundry list of people who are similar with making stuff up, stealing valor. And John says that he's got one.
No, I'm sorry. I was waving to somebody in chat.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. Does anybody else have any examples of people going this batshit crazy?
I got to tell you, man, that's crazy shit you just described. We got some great comments, by the way, in the chat. I want to go through some of these last ones in particular. First of all, I want to say hi to Keely Chow, dropped in, as well as Marco. And they're the latest. Oh, Cam's Crash Courses is here. And when we get into these comments, good Googa Mooga. There's like 20 of them that are marked. First of all, Anima says, quote, "She's my girlfriend. That's why I shit on her accent." End quote. "Fuck you, Gary, you jerk." That's my girlfriend. That's awesome. That's a lot of love right there. I'm going to tell you. Spoken like a loyal girlfriend, Joe says. There you go. Thank you, Joe. Danny, I just got off the phone with Bill with KGRI. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this Sunday show. We will be going over that on Friday. What's going on there? And he's in the back, or was in the back, going to join us after the show. But I told him to let's make the announcements on Friday and Saturday. Let's see. Joe's Atmosphere. When I was on the first time, he texted me. I fired right back. Oh, she's talking about me again. Yeah, because I'm a jerk. It's true. Everybody knows me, knows I'm a jerk. Yeah, more of the jerk stuff. Here we go. Brian says oh wait, no, it's more about me being a jerk. There we go. Hey, Joe's Atmosphere with huge. It's huge. There we go, Joe. And Marco says giggity. Giggity, giggity. You know, Quagmire from Family Guy.
Absolutely.
Hey, Peter, does this look like a cue? How about now? Giggity, giggity. All right. There you go. John Ostains. Korf is one of many guys that make me wonder if tons of nuts flock to ufology, if ufology turns people into nuts or a bit of both. There's one for you guys to field. There's a question. Let's see. Hex Allen Comics says, what a coincidence. I'm off to the post office. Guess that makes me a blackmailer too. Ha, 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 ha. You, sir, are racist. No. John Ostains, no doubt the nuts gives serious ufologists a bad name. I'm always worried, when I meet people in ufology. I don't think there's any other area I'm ever more afraid of meeting someone insane than in ufology. Why is that?
Well, in my view of it, and I learned this early on, is you can be a ufologist with zero pedigree. You read a few books, you get into it, you watch some of the videos, or as Jaime Maussan would say, the videos, and you talk to people at the conferences, the crazy nuts, and now you're an expert, and the media will have you on then, right? I mean, I've been asked to be on a bunch of stuff, and it's like, I think there's enough talking heads out there, and, Don's done a really good job to try to get whatever the truth might be, or at least to separate the wheat from the chaff. But yes, you can be, it's not like, I play guitar, I'm a MacGyver, because I love to build stuff, and I'm into film. Well, none of that can you claim unless you do it, right? You just can't, okay? And I'm an okay guitar player, pretty good MacGyver, and I know a lot about film and stuff, but how did I get there? Thousands of hours sitting on my ass and out back and, trying to play the guitar. But in ufology, read a few books, watch a few of the videos, bingo, I know as much as you now.
No, you see, and I've been reading books about ufology since the 70s. And I still don't call myself a ufologist. I'm just a follower of ufology, which is different,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm fascinated by it, alien technology.
You're an enthusiast.
Yes.
See, that's the difference. I'm an enthusiast for the guitar and for movies as well. I'm far from an expert. I can dabble a little bit, and if I can remember something, I can mention that. And oh wow, yeah, okay, great.
Well, you must not be very good at guitar because I like you.
Yeah, well, that.
I'm a drummer, and I'd never get along with the guitarists in my bands.
Well, that's because who's the only non-musician in a band? The drummer.
Oh, you don't even get started with that shit with me, motherfucker. I turned around. I was in a store. I don't know if it's still in Fredericksburg, but it was owned by my friend Mike Chafin, who great guitarist, friend of mine, owned Apple Music in Fredericksburg, Virginia. That was not only just a record store, but it was a musician store. They sold sheet music and gear. And we would always go into my band, and I was with a band called The Symptoms. We were called The Symptoms as a joke. I'd made a joke because we played 4 Cure covers. And I'm like, we're playing so much Cure, why don't we just call ourselves The Symptoms? And the lead singer's like Keller Williams, very well known in the string cheese music, folk music circuit. He's like, I love it. And Danny Martellino, my bassist, is like, that's great. And I'm like, it's a fucking joke. But anyway, we're in the record store and looking at new sheet music as well as new music that's being released to do some covers. And Mike Chafin's business partner, I forget the guy's name. He was a guitarist too. And he yells out, hey, you guys are in a band, right? He goes, how many musicians you got in a band? And Keller, the lead singer, goes, oh, there's 2 musicians and a drummer. It's the first time I ever heard that. And I was like, I stood extra tall. All of a sudden I went from slouch to fucking 6'3". And I went, fuck you guys. Good luck making a rock and roll without drums.
No, that's true. That's true. It can't rock without the drums. Here's the latest thing, or one of the latest things that Kal has put out. And he loves to do this. Okay, it's a tweet from.
Is this guy still doing shit?
Absolutely.
How in the fuck can he? Being denounced like he has, how can he still just even show his face in public?
Gary.
Don?
Oh, Gary. It's called fucking insane.
Yeah, there you go. Crazy. Crazy doesn't know, right?
Well, it's because he's over 60. He's got no significant. He went from the Dollar Tree to a Sprouts Market, which, hey, I'm not bagging on those jobs. It's just you're going to bag on a person like that given their history, right? He had a 500 book deal. 500 books, and the deal was set, and a rich Saudi prince gave him $250 million for his research, and he works at Sprouts.
No, 25 million.
Oh,
it was 25 million.
25 here, 250 there. So this is the latest thing that he posted. Breaking news. Well, not only did I pass my FBI background check recently, was months ago actually, but now I work 3 times a week in forensics. I won't say what kind, but it's not what I studied earlier. I'll leave it to my cyber stalkers to lie, say, and this isn't true. And that's very, very... most of his things will sound like that. Breaking news! That's what this lunatic does.
Now I gotta tell a quick little story about him. I really ended up on his radar back in it had to be around 95, 96. Are you guys familiar with the name Alfred Weber? No. Well, Alfred Weber loves rainbow-colored unicorns. He loves pixie farts. The lands of sunshine and marshmallows. Okay, and he dabbles in ufology. And one day, I somehow ended up on this chat thread, and of course, everybody knew I was a director of research for UFO magazine. they often saw me doing TV spots on these various shows. And he sends me a note. And he said, "Hey, Don, there's this guy by the name of Kal Korf. And Kal Korf claims that he worked at Lawrence Livermore Labs. Is that true?" So I knew who Korf was. I knew about Billy Meyer. I knew this other stuff. I would see this guy on this UFO list that used to be up, run out of Canada. And I saw him huffing and puffing on this list all the time. And I got to tell you, it kind of irritated me to hear this grandiose huffing and puffing that this little shithead was doing. So I said, "Well, Alfred, I'll tell you the truth. I don't know for absolutely positive sure, but if I had to guess, I would say no. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat my hat."
Yummy.
Well, that got back to Korf. And suddenly I am being snowed under by all these threats, and half of them came from somebody called Martina Kova, I think it was. Dykova, yeah.
Tykova, yeah.
Tykova. A Czechoslovakian supermodel.
And she did model, and she is cute, but she hitched up with Korf because he made all these claims, and as expected, it didn't go well.
No, she ended up like so many other women did, would get originally hooked in by this guy's horse shit and bullshit. And he would parade them around, like some of these rich 400-pound billionaires with a trophy wife. Okay. That's how he acted. And it wouldn't usually take them long to figure out this guy is batshit crazy and split. But this Martina Tykova could barely speak English. And honestly, I got to say, I kind of felt bad for her.
Yeah.
Felt bad for her.
Yeah.
That's how I got on his radar. Then he decided I was going to be Kal Korf's pinata. Okay. I was going to be his pinata. Well, he didn't know that when you talk behind a microphone every night and you buy ink by the gallon, and I'm referring to the magazine, that's not the right guy you want to screw with. And it didn't take him long to figure that out.
That's right. Before we go to the super chats, I wanted to read the rest of that thing I read to you guys where he said that I just passed my FBI background check, blah, blah, blah. Well, at the time, his girlfriend chimes in, okay? And she writes, "So how come I'm hearing about this on Twitter?" And he writes back, "Ha ha, funny, I'll call you in a bit."
Breaking news, this guy's a moron.
It's just, I know. It's just, he's been around forever. He did some good work, I suppose, at the start, but it's just, boy, oh boy, man, you're over 60 and you've got this costume that you're wearing that you just can't slough off. You're going to wear this costume the rest of your life. So funny.
Yeah, I got to tell. What is that?
No, it's scam likely on my phone.
Oh, it's like
it's my freaking vibrator. All right, it's the only way I can stay awake.
I want to get to some of the chats, especially the super chats. We're down to we're down to the last 15 minutes, really. I got to tell you, Mark. Look, if I don't know what you got to do for the rest of your life, but you're welcome to be a panelist on this show every week, dude.
Oh, thanks, thank you.
It would be fun to have you because I like the interaction between you and Don. and it makes me have to interact with him less.
Yeah.
You can sit there and be a lazy son of a bitch.
Some bitch. But let's get to the super chats here and make sure nobody jumped in. Also, I want to make sure I say hello to everybody. Outstanding. And by the way, I will let you guys know that Danny got some really huge news. It's huge. It's huge news from Bill Skywatcher, KGRA. So he's all excited. He wanted to announce on here, but I'm like, no. Let's save that for Friday. We can either do it on the morning show or our TGIF. And if you've never been on that, Mark, you need to jump on that show. Want to talk crazy. That's pure entertainment. We're talking about the entertainment industry. That's where, because I work in the comic and film industries, and Keith does, well, he doesn't work in comics, but he works in film and TV. So we brought our knowledge to the interwebs on some, what is it called? YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube, I got to tell you, our show's on there right now. Fuck you, YouTube. I am so fucking irritated with them. They are the most unfriendly to creators group of people. We get claimed every episode with KGRA because they claim the music from KGRA. This is music approved through KGRA. And they put a claim on us. Like, who's claiming us? Oh, it's just fucking ridiculous. YouTube's got its head up its ass. Fuck them. Unprofessional. They shit on creators, and they focus all their energy on studios and networks. And
that's because they don't want to be YouTube anymore. They want to be a cable station.
Yeah,
they want to get rid of all you guys.
That's right.
Yep.
But we have a $5 super chat, Canadian, from Christian Delorme, a good friend of ours and of mine now. Great panel. You guys are the shit. Great chat. I'm a jerk too, so Gary, you're sweet. I just sent a friend request on Facebook, and cheers. Outstanding. Thank you for the $5 for you, sir. I am going to play this one.
You're reading a magazine. You come across a full-page nude photo of a girl.
Is this testing whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
And you wonder why YouTube hates you. You wonder.
We have another Christian Delorme, Canadian, $2. Hey, Gary, I'm a drummer too. F the string jerks. There you go. Actually, I got to put out that every band I've ever been in, the bassist and the drummer always are like chums. I've always been friends with my bassist.
Oh, of course.
Because we are the backbone of the rock. We're what do they call it? I've been out of music for so long. The rhythm section. We keep the rhythm. Oh, and so bassist and I, just for some reason, have always gotten along. And, the short story is that guitarist that said that got high during a gig one time, and it was a rule we had, don't get high during a gig. And when we went for a break, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Because we were doing a 4/4 song, and he started doing it like reggae, and we were doing straight forward 4/4 beat. And it sounded like a train wreck. And he said, well, I dropped a little LSD. And I just looked at him. Before he could say the next word, I plowed him in the face. I hit him so hard. Just plowed him. And I got to remind you, I played in punk bands. That's where I came up, in punk bands. First band I was ever with, the Smelly Pubes. That was the name of our band.
The first band that I was in was called Red Stool.
Red Stool is right up there. I was in one band in college. I was just fresh out of the military, and I had a landlord. He was an asshole, and he'd get drunk all the time and say the dumbest shit. And he said, my apartment looks like crap, but my bathroom is always immaculate. So our band's name was Bob's Immaculate Bathroom. And, you're not a punk unless you're mocking everything and everyone in your life. Absolutely. And I wrote this song for one of our guitarists that I kicked out of the band, Sergei Dubovic. What a prick. Fucking came over from Russia after the wall fell. First thing he did is he went to Seattle and got on welfare. So I wrote the song called Commies on Welfare, Commies on Welfare, pinking when the cheese line, pinking when the cheese line, commies on welfare. And that's it. That's the only lyrics in the song.
That's the same thing that we did. The first song that we wrote was called "I Kill Babies," and that was the song. We just said it again and again. I kill babies. I kill babies, and it was a bit of a hit where I lived.
That sounds like something that the what is it?
Fear?
Butt surfers would have put out back in the 80s.
Or a Fear.
Yeah. Or what was it? The Dead Kennedys would have done something like that.
Yeah, I've seen those guys a lot of times. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man, the 80s was chock full of. And here's the funny part: when I was in the military and we were like going to do something, all the guys would have their Sony Walkman.
No shit, you were in the military.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it happened.
You ever kill anybody?
No. Well, yeah, but it's because I didn't do a good job as a medic.
Oh,
okay. But anyway, so we're in a vehicle moving, being transferred. And all the guys have their Sony Walkmans on. And you could hear them. You could hear them like death rock, fucking hip hop. You'd hear all this shit going. And then me over in the corner of the medic, I'm listening to Peter Gabriel in Your Eyes. And like, they're like, why do you listen to that pussy music? I said, because when we go into a situation, you guys are wired for sound. I'm always the calm one. I'm always calm, and it's Peter Gabriel, like always calm me down, kept me zen all the time. But
Baby,
Christian,
I want you.
Yeah, really. So this one is for you, Christian. Thank you for the $2 Canadian.
I like you. You have balls. I like balls.
Great movie.
Oh, Mark, yeah, this is now. Get on you. He's drinking. Yeah, he's drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, and he starts throwing money at us like we're strippers. I swear to God. Christian DeLorme, $5. How many more are there, Martin? Is this the last one, or we got more?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Oh, thank God, Christian, please, buddy. Love the money, but Jesus Christ,
pick
dude.
up the pace because we only have 4 minutes.
Yeah, I know. By the way, drummers lead armies into battle. Guitarists were left behind, begging for. They're also fucking your girlfriends. Jody was a fucking guitarist. I'm telling you. For that one, you get this very special one.
You pompous, stuck-up, snot-nosed, English, giant, twerp, scumbag, fuckface, dickhead, asshole.
There you go. I like insulting our people with these videos. They're just so mean. I see Keely Chow dropped in. Hello. Let's see. John Osteen. I'm going to steal Joe's some bitch term, like it or not. There you go. And then Mark Sinner, you posted that. Okay. Let's see. That's that video. We can't show it because I know he'll fucking go after us legally. What's your name, fat boy? Look, my favorite in the Army was when his drill sergeant yelled at me, "Hey, donut!" I did not turn around. I did not respond. He got right up behind me, hitting me with his fucking hat, going, "Donut! Donut!" And I would not fucking turn. I just refused. I'm not fucking responding to that. And I wasn't even fat. I'm like, why are you calling me that? So Keely says, what's going on? Hey, everybody, good morning. Hail out ex Helen Comics and John was saying Korf exposés are my phase after the Cooper ones, which I don't know about the Cooper one. Cam's Korsh says, is his mama commando? Talking about Cal. Was his mother Mallory Archer? Right, of course. That's anybody who knows Archer knows what that's about. Still respected peeps who think there was at least an original truth and real experience behind Billy Meyer's saga. Would like to hear what the hosts think. We should talk about that sometime. You got to come back on, Mark. Just become one of the regulars.
You can't say 100% that there may not be something true in all of that data. There might be. Who knows?
Right. So, but we can bring that up another show because we're running out of time. Joe's Atmosphere starting a crypto Tinder. And that leads to this one. Is your date a crypto? I don't know what that's about. Let's see. What else we got here? Anima's trying to give me shit again, saying that she plays guitar. And hey, everybody, good morning. And of course to you too. Let's see. Monkey Jeebus with the placebos would have been better. How do you shut up a drummer? Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. I love you, baby.
Gary,
Fuck you.
we gotta go, man. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
We got 56s when we go. And so we got 2 minutes.
Nope.
Almost.
Chanel says nope.
Nope. Oh, we got to go now? All right. Well, I want to thank you for being here, Mark. You have a great week. And I want to talk to you some more. Jesus Christ. No time. Thank you, Christian. Gotta go. So thanks, everybody. Happy Wednesday. See you this afternoon for Dangerous Military Nerds.